Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a sleep physician. And if you have insomnia, this channel is for you. Today, a question from Tuan makes me think about David and Goliath. Nice seeing you back here. And if it's your first time on the channel, welcome. Hope you find something valuable here. Today we have a question from Tuan, and before we get to it, as always, what I say here is not specific medical advice to anyone, but rather general thoughts, general advice that may be helpful to you, Tuan, or anybody else watching or maybe listening to this on a podcast. Now let's get right to that question. Hi Daniel. In one of your video insights involving Mike, you mentioned microsleep as being a big issue when conducting proper SRT at your clinic. SRT, sleep restriction therapy, and just briefly, that's a technique when you limit time in bed so that you're quite sleepy going to bed so that you can fall asleep quickly and hopefully sleep through the night. Now, regarding microsleep, is that problem common with both sleep onset, my problem, and sleep maintenance insomnia? Sleep onset insomnia is when you have a hard time falling asleep. Sleep maintenance insomnia when you have a hard time staying asleep. I sometimes find myself feeling wide awake after the final waking up after several microsleeps. Is there such a thing as a second wind? The short answer to that question is yes, absolutely. There is such a thing as a second wind resulting from episodes of microsleep. Now, for those of you not familiar with microsleep, this is a short episode of sleep that you're not aware of or kind of barely aware of. And the strict definition is between 1 second and 30 seconds. And as I have mentioned before, when you look at a nap that's, let's say, a 30-minute nap, the alerting effect, the kind of energy boost it gives you can last for several hours, 3, 4, 5 hours, something like that, or even more. Now, even a very brief episode of sleep, down to 5, 4 seconds long, has a measurable impact on your alertness. And so if you have multiple episodes of very brief sleep, it kind of adds up. And that can be really alerting and can explain what Tuan is describing here, that you have multiple episodes where you kind of dozed off a little bit, you're not sure, did I really fall asleep? And then it happens again. And finally you wake up and you feel really alert, and what has happened most likely is that yes, you had multiple episodes of very short episodes of sleep that kind of add up and make you feel alert, and that can absolutely make it difficult for you to fall asleep or stay asleep. And that's where I thought about David and Goliath here. This is of course a classic story where a young boy kills a giant, and it's completely unexpected, and it's a classic story of when an underdog defeats a much more powerful adversary, and when that happens, when the underdog wins, that's usually a good thing. But in this sleep scenario here, what happens is that the short episode of sleep kind of defeats the long sleep that we want. The microsleep in a way disrupts or destroys the macrosleep, the long period of sleep that we all want and need. So what can be done? How can you avoid having episodes of very short periods of sleep that then disrupts your ability to sleep good at night? It's a tricky one. It's a tricky question because, of course, the whole concept of microsleep is that you're not aware of it happening or that it's about to happen. However, what I hear about very often in clinic is somebody saying that, well, I don't sleep during the day, but I feel tired. Sometimes I just lay down to rest and I close my eyes. And that signals to me that, maybe you're actually microsleeping here, because you're closing your eyes. That indicates to me that you're not only tired, physically tired, but you are sleepy. And another thing I often hear about is somebody saying, well, I'm not sure if I'm asleep or not, but it seems to me like when I look at the time, it seems like quite some time has elapsed, so I must have been asleep. And that's not strictly speaking microsleep, because it's probably more than 30 seconds, but to me it's functionally kind of like microsleep, meaning it's a shorter period of sleep that you aren't aware of, but it could possibly be several minutes, of course. So what can you do about this? Well, I think in what I'm reading here from you, Tuan, the two things that I find are encouraging is, one, that you are aware of having these episodes of microsleep, and that's a good thing. Many people don't even realize it. And secondly, the fact that you are having microsleep, signals that you're needing sleep. Your body wants sleep. It's just a matter of timing. Like, you should have that sleep drive should be making you fall asleep when you want to. That's the whole goal, of course. So how can you decrease episodes of microsleep so that you could have better macrosleep? Well, it's a hard one. But going back to what I said before about resting with your eyes closed, I think that's definitely a risk for microsleep. So if you find yourself wanting to close your eyes, even if it feels like, well, that's just to rest, try to avoid that. That's one thing. The second thing is, if you're in a position where you think you're at risk of falling asleep, like many people describe when they come home after a long day of work and it's like 7 p.m., they're watching TV, then they know that they're at risk of falling asleep, then maybe set an alarm to go off every so many minutes, so that if you fall asleep, it wakes you up. That's not so much to avoid microsleep, but more those a little bit longer, several minute long episodes of sleep that can also, of course, affect your nighttime sleep. I hope this was helpful, and as always, questions from you, Tuan, or anybody else, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And you can leave a comment here or email me at insomniainsight@gmail.com. And I hope to see you back here very, very soon. Until then, take it easy.